There are over 2,000 websites that are all about hate. Isn't it time to say enough is enough?
You people are disgusting!
Next, Jenny Jones. They send hate into your home.
The purpose of the website is to wake white people up.
Your website's called what?
GodHates.com.
And your kids are their target.
The younger the better.
You are poisoning our children with hatred.
Watch them get caught in their own web.
I hate people too. People like this!
On the next Jenny Jones.
It's the end of the millennium. Do you know what your kid is reading on the internet? Maybe it's this, the internet's version of a hate rally. Or maybe he's reading this, God hates gay people? Oh, really? Or maybe your young boy wants to join an anti-government group like the Michigan Militia or the Freemen. How could this stuff be on the internet? Well, it's a free country.
That's right, it's not just chat rooms, sports highlights, and shopping anymore. It's a free country with an even freer internet, maybe too free, according to some of today's guests. Our first guest is an unlikely benefactor of our totally free internet. He is a reverend, or so he says, and he received a fair amount of media attention recently when a former member of his church went on a shooting spree. Most of that shooting spree occurred right here in our home state of Illinois. I'm sure you remember the gunman took his own life only after killing 2 people and wounding 8. All of his victims, as you may recall, were minorities. Okay? Before we talk to Matt, in whose church the gunman was a member, I want you to watch this videotape.
The purpose of our website is to wake up the white people of the world. Blacks running around in Africa half naked, killing each other, selling each other, whatever, that's fine. But blacks in our neighborhoods, tearing up our neighborhoods, no. We detest the Jews. We are going to remove the Jew from power in this country. It's okay to promote white racism on the web because white people's survival depends on it.
Well, it's Reverend Matt Hale. He calls himself, here's Matt, everybody. I guess you don't mind the booing. You were probably expecting it.
I certainly was, but a lot of people watching me right now on television are cheering. That's what gives me confidence and makes me smile.
How many supporters do you have out there? How many supporters do you have?
We have millions of people that agree with us, essentially, that white people need representation in this country and around the world.
So the purpose of your website then is what?
Purpose of the website is to wake white people up so that they can ensure their own survival as an entity on this planet.
You have a book. What's the book you brought?
The White Man's Bible. Our Bible of our church, which we believe in, and which is actually becoming the most popular book in this country.
Did you write it?
No, I did not write this
Are you
book.
a real reverend?
I am ordained. I have performed marriages, child pledging ceremonies.
What church? What church?
The World Church of the Creator.
Is it your church?
Yes, it is.
Tax-free?
Oh, absolutely. If it's good for the Christians, it's good for us.
Whatever happened to you that you have this much hatred?
I am in this church, in this cause, because I love my white people. I love my family. I love the extension of my family, and that is my race. Even the white people who, in their own befuddled thinking, are opposed to us and who hate us, we still love them. We care about our own people.
What's on the site? When you come on the site, what are you going to see?
They're going to see candid opinions, candid thoughts, many for the first time. We live in a country where we have a controlled mass media, where people see basically the same thing on every channel. We, of course, are dissenters from the orthodoxy of today.
You write everything, it's all your material that you put on the site.
I did not write it all. Our founder, Ben Klassen, who wrote this book as well, wrote much of it. They will read about an invigorating creed, an invigorating religion for white people
when you
for
say
the first time.
This includes children.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you know how young of children you have on this website?
The younger the better.
So there's no way to know if you have 5, 6, 7-year-old kids on this site.
I know we do have 5-year-olds.
And you want them, you say the younger the better.
Yes, because we are trying to counter the influences of the mass media that is indeed hostile to the interests of white people. It's very simple.
The mass media is hostile to the interests of white people? How?
It's very simple. If the mass media is promoting integration, for example, integration has been known to cause race mixing. Race mixing causes the death of our people.
How do you feel about coming on a show where I'm sure you've seen our show. We do promote integration on this show, and we promote accepting all races. You probably aren't very...
Well, realize full well that I am going to have to, as a minister in my church, go into the lion's den, so to speak, and talk to white people who disagree with me. I realize that full well. I've been doing it for years. I'll continue to do it. We have to be missionaries for our religion, our
I'm going
creed.
to see if there's anybody in here that agrees with you. I have a feeling you won't, but I'm going to keep looking. Go ahead.
Okay, I think you should keep your opinion to yourself, man. They benefit you and you only.
You know, I'm curious to see if there's anyone here who is a possible supporter or has anything positive to say and says, oh, you put your hand down. I'll take your question anyway. Go ahead.
I was just wondering how much education you actually have, and if you actually realize that every single person in here is related in one way or another, and that actually the origin of life did begin with a black person.
Can I answer that question?
Yeah, please, please.
I graduated from Bradley University in 1993. I had 2 majors. I went to law school. I'm a graduate of law school. I have quite an education. You cannot dispute that. If you disagree with my views, that's fine, but you cannot say that just because I don't share your views that I'm uneducated. It's simply
Who else besides blacks do you dislike?
We want a white society for its own sake and because that's the only way to preserve our own white people.
So what about Jews? Do Jews count?
Jews do not, as far as we're concerned. They do not belong in our white society. The Jews have the state of Israel, a Jewish state. Why can we not have a white state, a white nation?
Okay, anybody else? Gays?
Gays are really not much of an issue as far as we're concerned.
But
it's just
a black gay would be because he's black. Yes, sir.
You say you went to college, right? Was there any black people in the classes? Was it segregated when you went to college?
Well, actually, blacks segregate themselves, oftentimes. And whites segregate themselves. That's just the fact of the matter. Go to a cafeteria and you'll see segregation firsthand.
But you did go to school with blacks then?
Oh, sure.
Right?
Was it segregated?
Whites generally stayed with whites and blacks with
Was you
blacks.
able to get your education?
Oh, yes.
So what was the problem?
What we're saying. Well, see,
I get your point.
we're
Yeah.
putting it-
Yeah.
I don't see the point.
Yeah, I understand.
Well,
If there's such a problem in society, you still manage to get your degree and to get educated. Do you have any
but
black
that's-
instructors?
That's a very selfish way of looking at things. That just because I was able to graduate from school, I shouldn't care about the future of white people. The 500 million white people who still inhabit this planet.
You made You made the statement that the younger, the better people to look at your internet site.
Yes.
But isn't it more important that the 5, 6 year, 7-year-old get an education before they go looking to see what side of the race they're going to be on?
They are getting an education.
What are they going to learn if they come onto your website? What's a 5 or 6-year-old going to learn?
They're going to learn to be proud of their ancestry, proud of their culture, proud of their people. We are not the villains of this world as we have been portrayed as white people. White people are full of guilt in this country, and there are white people in this audience who know that I'm speaking the truth in that. And I can see it in their eyes. I can see the white people who are saying to themselves, yes,
guilt about what?
Feel guilt that they have been slave owners, their ancestors, or that they have held the blacks down. We've not held the other races down. We have nothing to be ashamed of. If they cannot make it in this world, they have their own selves to blame.
Any pro comments in the audience? Because if not, I'm going to bring our next guest out, who is actually a former Jenny Jones audience member who asked for a chance to address this issue with Matt personally. Please welcome Deron, everybody. Deron. Deron is from Chicago, Illinois. He's a former Navy SEAL, correct?
Exactly.
And that's... You fought for... Tell us about how you feel about that.
First of all, speaking from someone who's been all over the entire planet, unlike some people we know, he's talking about the numbers of white people there on this world. 3/4 of this entire planet consists of people of color.
More than that.
Now, second of all, from someone who's been all over this entire planet, white people are hated in most of these countries all over the world. Now, why is this? But you're preaching all this hate, you're preaching all this separatism, you're preaching all this nothingness. You want to talk about American history? American history has, white people have nothing to be proud of. You brought us over here as
non-whites
slaves.
hate us, should we allow ourselves to be subjugated by the non-whites, people who hate us?
I don't hate you, but
Well,
I
you just said
despise what you
non-whites hate
stand
us.
for.
Should we allow ourselves to be minorities?
But Matt, why take it to the internet, though? Why to the internet? You know, there's no regulation. Anybody can get on the site. You
We're
know,
trying to
little
teach the
kids-
truth. You may disagree with our truth. You may think
There
it's
is
false,
no
but
truth
it is
to
the
what you
What
truth.
is your truth? What is this truth you'd want
The
to teach
truth that race
5-year-olds?
matters. That we should care about
The
our own
only
people.
race there is on this planet is the human race.
Oh, really?
There
be
is
like
no
that.
such thing as right.
You don't want to stop any age from coming on this website, correct?
The government has no business regulating free speech on the internet.
You are poisoning your son with hatred, and you are poisoning our children with hatred. Our next guest says that he had the first all-white nationalist website on the internet, but that's not all. He also has a special kitty page for his 10-year-old son. This guy's name is Don Black, and here he is on videotape.
The purpose of my website is to provide a news media, an alternative news media for white people. I think blacks and whites are inherently different, and no amount of legislation is ever going to overcome that. I think homosexuality is a sickness, should be treated. It's not a normal lifestyle. I've believed in white pride since I was 15 years old. I was in the Ku Klux Klan for 12 years. The internet, for the first time, provided us with the opportunity to reach millions of people with our message.
Here's Don, everybody. Don? Don. You have a 10-year-old son.
Of course I do.
With his
and I want
own-
him to be proud of his heritage just like everybody else wants them to be proud of theirs.
There's another issue here besides, we know that their message is going to be the same. It's a message of hate. But you have a 10-year-old
No,
son.
it is not. Hate, love
It's
of our
not-
own people is not hate. Hate is a term you in the media
What's to
have
love?
come
Look
up
at
with
all of
to
American
describe
history.
white
All
people
the
who
Okay,
are proud
so-
of their
came
heritage.
from
So what's the word then? How do you feel about blacks if it's not hate?
I think blacks are their own race and they can stand up for their own interests just like this man is doing with undoubtedly with
And you
black
don't hate
organizations.
him and you don't
There's
hate
nothing wrong
him.
with black organizations and black pride and black heritage.
Your boy has a website for kids.
He built his own website. He wrote all the information in it.
Now,
It's
where
his
would he get
own
an idea
information.
like that, Don?
He first got the information from going to public schools and learning what integrated public schools are really like. But of course I guide him like any parent guides their children. We want to instill in our children
The only
an
thing wrong with you
appreciation
is
of
you're
our
crazy.
history, an
You're
appreciation
a
of what
complete
we've
idiot,
accomplished,
and you prove
we
it
want
just
to
by opening
overcome
your
the
mouth.
lies like
So-
this man is promoting now.
I have a 10-year-old that's in school and he have a computer, and I wouldn't want him to go near no racist type of material like that. But I think that exposing these people for what they is, you know, is something that all these people, some of these people don't get a chance to see this type of racism firsthand.
Well, the internet, you know, is not really, there's no regulation. Duran, there is no regulation right now, but not that you would want it. You don't want to stop any age from coming on this website, correct?
The government has no business regulating free speech on the internet. We have a controlled news media already that only promotes one side of the issue, and we want to change that by providing an alternative news media. But certainly parents should watch and control
But
what their
parents
children
usually,
see on the net, just like they should control what
But
their
parents
children do on
usually
TV.
protect their children from violence and from sex and things like that on TV, but they're not protected from messages of hate that you're sending out. You want to?
What about the messages of hate by this government? What about the message of hate that was
I
delivered
want
at
to talk
Waco?
about his 10-year-old
What about
son.
white
Your
people?
10-year-old son is not in school. He's being homeschooled. Why?
They do not learn much.
Black people are
Frequently, they're
That's not
subject
why
to
he's out of school,
being
Don.
educated
That's
by
not why he's out of school. Now, come on.
Even the blacks want segregated
One
schools
second,
now.
Duran, one second. This is about why your son's, he's not in school because he was beaten up in school because of his hatred, and that's why he
That's not
can't be
true.
in
Nobody
school.
in his school knew anything about his politics. He was subject to the same thing that every white kid is subject to in integrated schools.
He said-
and every white parent watching this knows exactly what I'm talking about if they've had any dealings with integrated schools.
You're welcome to have him on the show. You want him to come out here?
No, I didn't want him to be subject to this kind of abuse, so that's the reason we agreed to do it
Okay.
off camera.
So this
or
is
off
abuse,
stage.
but the website that he promotes.
Get this guy and some of these people you've whipped
All right.
up into a frenzy.
Hang on a second. Can I go backstage? All right. He didn't want to come on the show, and we'll see. He's backstage. He is 10 years old. His name is Derek. You've been listening to us back there, Derek? Okay, you want to go out there in the audience next to your dad? You're welcome to. You're not embarrassed or anything, are you?
No.
So tell me about your website. What's it called?
Stormfront for Kids.
Stormfront for Kids? And is this your website page? You put it together?
Yes.
Where'd you get the idea for it?
There was a newspaper article with another racist kids page that I saw in the newspaper, and I wanted to make another one to have kids have another way of being able to see ideas and other options.
And so what message are you sending on your website?
I'm sending a message to be proud of your history and your ancestry, just to be proud of all the things that your ancestors have done, because the news media and schools never say any of it.
So why aren't you in school anymore? You're only 10 years old.
I'm in homeschool now.
How come?
When I was in public school, gangs of non-whites would gang up on me. Once in the bathroom, I got pulled off the stall in the bathroom and kicked several times in the groin for no reason.
For no reason?
Just,
you weren't promoting any messages out there or
No.
sending any messages of hate?
At the time, I said nothing of that.
Okay. Do you want to come on the show? You're welcome to come and join us if you want to.
No, I've been hearing all the audience. They boo when you come on. They boo while you're talking.
You understand why, though?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to go back and talk to your dad, okay? I didn't want him to feel like he didn't have a chance to respond. Or Don, you were listening to us, right?
Yes.
Okay. So he says he was being harassed at school, apparently. He was beat up.
Most white kids that go to integrated schools get harassed. That's a fact of life in this
really?
country. And the government continues to push the same poison.
Yes, I'd like
all
to
the
say
evidence
something.
that integration has not worked.
Your son was saying that they don't teach about how whites built this country and its achievements. That's all you hear in school. This country was really built on slavery in the plantations. Can you trace your ancestors? Were they ever in the cotton fields picking? Were your ancestors over there in California picking strawberries in the fields? I don't think so. I'm sorry. Overseers didn't build this country. The slaves that were picking the cotton did.
And no talk. You'd be lucky to find one mention of George Washington in a typical textbook.
That's all you hear in the school.
The slave house.
Why do you think when you look in the phone,
this guy here find so many black people named Washington because George Washington couldn't stay out the slave house because it was something about that beautiful black queen that you see in front of him that lured him into the slave house.
He wants our heritage pulled down in the mud.
You said, Don, that
everybody giggles. I think that's
you
not
said
even
that
true.
most
This is
crimes
This is historical garbage. Washington never had anything to do with the
laugh.
slaves.
Let me show you a little bit of Derek on videotape.
I've designed the website for white children. Most people think that my father has taught me to hate other races. He's just taught me to be proud of my heritage and to be proud of my race. Since I designed my website, I've had virtually no problems except for hateful and vile emails.
I attended a predominantly white school for 4 years for high school, and I feel that I was segregated because I was like the only black girl that pretty much hung with white girls. The black people segregate themselves from me, okay? And the person who came up to me on the first day of school was not a black girl, was not anyone of my race, was a white girl that said, "How are you doing? Can I help you find your class?" And I've been overseas, I've been to Hong Kong, and do you know the first thing that come out their mouth when they greet you, not as an African American, not as a white American, they say, "Oh, hi, you're an American." That's how they greet people. It's not the color of your skin, what race you go, what background. You're an American.
Multiculturalism is destroying this country.
Say it again, Matt.
No country in history has ever survived multiculturalism. If you don't believe me, study history. This country will not either.
What are you talking about?
A real majority. We have to have a backbone in this country. Look what happened to Yugoslavia. Look at the Civil War they caused.
You better thank a black person.
All
Did
right,
you turn on
yeah.
the light switch? You better thank Louis
That's
Lattimore.
right.
Was anybody in your ever saved by an open heart surgery? You better thank Dr. Charles Drew. Do you stop at red lights? You better thank Carter G. Woodson.
Maybe you should stop.
Right. Teach your children your version of history. We'll teach them the truth.
Don, maybe you should stop riding elevators because that was invented by a black person too. Start taking the steps, drop a few pounds.
Right.
So you want your son out of school. That's okay with you. He's not in school.
Homeschooling is an enormous movement in this country.
You're
Not by all kinds of people who are disgusted with what's going on in the public schools.
Hold on, Jimmy.
And every time there's a Columbine or some other massacre,
it's not about his son. This is about his son. Because you are poisoning your son with hatred, and you are poisoning our children with hatred by allowing him on the internet to be the children's website. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. You want children on the site. What are they going to learn? What are they going to go away from your site knowing?
If you die in an unrepentant state as a practicing homosexual, you are going to awaken hell.
You don't know what you're talking about. You're making me mad now. Our next guests created an anti-gay website. They say the hate on their website is not their hate, it's God's hate. Here are Shirley and Margie, everybody. All right, Shirley and Margie are sisters. Before we talk to them, we have a little bit of videotape.
The purpose of the website is to remind this generation that there is a God in heaven, a day of judgment, and it is not okay to be gay. I would never have a close friend that was a besides, they would not feel comfortable in my home. Who are upset because people gay bash them should keep their filthy conduct in the closet.
If my 16-year-old son told me he was gay, I would have nothing further to do with him.
We want people to read our website and understand that God hates and we agree with God.
Well, Shirley and Margie, you're sisters.
We're sisters.
Shirley, you're a civil rights attorney.
We both
correct?
Are. We both
and Margie,
are.
you're a deputy prison warden?
Well, she was a civil rights attorney before she was a deputy
I'm
prison.
both. I'm a deputy warden at a male correctional facility. I'm a civil rights attorney.
And your website's called what?
GodHates.com.
Wow.
Right there. Stereo, yeah.
Don't even laugh, my gosh. And so what's the problem with gays? Because, you know, we welcome them on this show all the time. So where do you have a problem?
The problem is that God hates, meaning only that
according to who?
According to the Bible.
God was never about hate. He said we should love everybody.
Ms. Jones, when did you last read the Bible? Because the Bible I read says directly the phrase God hates over and over and over. God hates all workers of iniquity.
Not people. What happened?
What's in hell?
Yeah, the sinner.
All right, what happens when you come on the website? What are you going to see?
You're going to see Matthew Shepard depicted burning in hell, which is where he is today. He himself, the
Matthew Shepard is the gay man who was killed for being gay.
No, he
just
was
for being gay.
because he was out trolling for anonymous sex with strangers, which this entire nation and people like this audience is made up of, and people like you encourage him to do.
And not only that, but the most tragic thing that happened the day that Matthew Shepard was killed was
all I can
that
say
he
to
entered
you
hell
is
for
that you sure look like a man yourself.
October 11 on the first
You don't have any shame about disrespecting a dead man like that?
First of all, we need to answer that last little round that you did. There's something that people have got to come to terms with. Clapping like trained seals doesn't change a lie into truth, and you will not hoot and holler. You will not hoot. You will not hoot and holler your way out of hell. It will not happen, my friend.
And it doesn't change the fact that to date, Matthew Shepard is in hell, and he's still there for eternity.
And if he was here,
and again,
one second.
Again, there are children coming on this website
to
see you.
And hopefully those children are getting some balance, because you can't go into a kindergarten class in America today without children being taught it's okay to be gay. Someone needs to warn those children, and that's what our webpage does. Of the million people who've hit it, I hope half of them were children.
I agree with these people on one thing. I hate people too. People like this.
Well,
there's no place for people on this earth.
Well, then
you have me a little worried.
Look,
and this is amazing.
His hate is not God's
God's hate. His hate is that rabid foaming at the mouth, I hate you hate.
You
God's
actually
hate is that he's going to send you to hell for eternity.
You
And
actually
need to come to
picketed
terms with it.
Matthew Shepard's funeral.
We're picketing the 1-year anniversary of it in a few weeks again.
So you don't mind if children come on your website?
We want them on the website.
You want children on the site to get what are they going to learn? What are they going to go away from your site knowing?
That it's not okay to be gay, and that if you die in an unrepentant state as a practicing homosexual, you are going to awaken hell. And eternity, my friends, is a damn long time.
You're really serious?
Of course we're serious.
Okay. Our next guest is a gay man, and let me tell you, he really, really, really wanted a chance to meet Shirley and Margie. His name is Doug. Here's Doug, everybody.
You people are disgusting. You and you and you and you. This is their website. This is their website, and it is full of trash. It is disgusting. It is a perversion of the Bible. Where did you learn how to read the Bible?
You're not. So you're teaching. You're telling children that God hates Matt because he's gay.
And what's your
Where
name,
does it
sir?
say that?
Is your
Name again?
My name is Margie. Doug,
Margie.
if you stay in this lifestyle and you die in this lifestyle, you're going to awaken hell.
You are inferring that it's a choice.
It is absolutely a
Connie,
choice.
I know for a
Well,
fact it's not a choice.
you're
Listen
mistaken.
to
It's a choice whether or not to
Hold on.
engage.
Let
You're
me talk.
mistaken.
Let me talk.
Hold
Listen
on,
to
please.
yourself. Okay. What kind of person in their right mind would choose to be a
Good
member
question.
of an oppressed class?
Why do you have to go on a website with this?
Get the message way you publish a message in the world today.
Okay, and
We've
you're
had almost 1 million hits. It'll be 2 million
a
after
million
this
hits.
show.
And you have children
Praise
also,
God.
6, 7, 8, 9-year-old kids probably
Lot of
coming on the
children,
website.
hopefully.
Yeah. Yes, Doug.
What could have happened to you when you were
Nothing
little?
happened to me.
What happened to you that
Nothing
could make
happened
you
to me.
such
I was
so
taught
ugly
the difference
and so full
between
of
right
hate?
and wrong.
Because I know that I am a beautiful person, and I know that I have so much to give to this world, and you are ugly, and you are full of hate. Wait, hold on. Jenny, hold on.
Doug, you understand why this would make him so upset? You're saying because of the way he was born, he's a bad person. That's the message you're sending to children. That this is something he has no control over.
God the same yesterday, today, and forever.
We'll be right back.
It doesn't matter.
Just so you know, we're going to move on, but we have a line backstage of some of our gay staff members who want to say some things to Shirley and Margie. We're going to try and get to them if we can. We have quite a few gay staff members.
Yeah.
So our next
let 'em
guest
answer
actually
it now and
emailed
again.
us about wanting to address this website, which thoroughly offended her. It was Shirley and Margie's website. Please welcome Bridget.
Jenny, I really think I'm going to be every one of these people's worst nightmare. Number one, God loves me regardless of what you say.
Oh, yes, he does. I would not be alive if it weren't for him. Number two.
You hide at
Number
night. And you're a
two.
vessel of wrath.
Number
fitted for
two.
destruction. I happen to be a... How much does that scare you?
Not at all.
Number three, for these gentlemen over here, would you like me to take out a picture of my black girlfriend for you?
Don't you think, Shirley and Margie, don't you think by having this website that you are, and I think that Bridget feels the same way, that you are actually fueling these attacks that happen? Don't you think that attacks on gays, hate crimes against gays?
Can we preach that God hates... That's a hate crime? When people commit murder and assault, they are criminals, and it's done more by the homosexual population by far against heterosexuals than any other population.
You know what? You don't know what you're talking about, Margie. You don't know what you're talking about. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. My God.
And Jenny, all your
have the audacity. I'm sorry. You're making me mad now. You know what? You have the audacity to say that Matthew Shepard's going to burn in hell. You know what? When you get there, say hello to him for me, okay? Yeah. Excuse me, Doug wants to say something.
Jimmy, you agree there's a hell. You agree there's a hell.
Yeah, and you're going to know it.
About right now.
All right. Bridget, anything else you want to say before we move on?
Yeah, hopefully something
Bridget.
The only thing I see up here is fear. Fear of what you know nothing about.
Fear of God.
You know nothing about.
Fear of God.
And you don't even want to take the beginning of wisdom. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Let me ask you that. Do you have any gay relatives?
Wait a minute. She's got a point. Say that again. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom.
Yeah, we fear God, not man, God, and certainly not
You should be afraid using his name to promote hatred then if you fear him, because you're going to pay a price for it. All right. Let me introduce my next guest, who says she's seen Marilyn Manson more than 60 times. A change of pace here, and says that she still hasn't been able to bring herself to go and commit a crime, as if 60 concerts weren't enough. She also has a website. Please welcome 42-year-old Paula. Okay. Before we talk to Paula, we have a little vignette. Take a look.
The purpose of my website is to tell the truth about Marilyn Manson, to explain his ideas and his influences to people that don't understand him. If kids commit suicide, don't blame Marilyn Manson. It's their parents' fault. The lyrics to Manson's songs are so misinterpreted. So what if he sings about abortion, date rape, and burning witches?
So, Paula, you 60 concerts?
That's it.
All right. You know, you've heard some. I mean, you know all his lyrics. Then, you know, as you know, I'm sure Marilyn Manson is not a woman. Some very hateful lyrics and negative lyrics. And you have a website.
Yes, I know.
What's on your website?
Well, mainly it's a lot of my writing about Manson. I debunk a lot of the rumors about Manson. My purpose is to explain him, explain his ideas to people that don't get him. He's not...
What don't we get? What don't we get about Manson?
He's not a devil worshiper. He doesn't kill animals. He's not responsible for suicide. He's not responsible for murder. He's not responsible for many of the things that people who are afraid of him think he is.
What's the purpose of your site? I mean, why do you have it?
Because I know Manson, and I know that because of the things that people believe about him, which aren't true, he's been harassed, he's been persecuted, he's had death threats every night of the past 5 years. These things are not true. The man is being harassed for no reason.
Totally misunderstood.
Straight up.
Okay. Well, our next guest is a woman named Michelle, who says that she wants to marry Marilyn Manson, and she hopes that appearing on this show will increase her chances. Well, we aren't making any promises. Here's Michelle.
Is not hateful. I don't know. Her webpage is good. Manson tells us to be who I want to be. He makes me stand up for myself. He is great. It's all about music, and it's not about hate at all. He's totally against hate. So I mean,
you want to marry this guy?
It's a figure of speech, basically. I love him. I love what he stands for. I love what this man does. I love what he did for me. He makes me stand up for myself now, and I feel confident enough to do things. And I mean, how he...
But you're obsessed with him. Can we say that?
Yeah.
Because it's costing you money, right?
Yeah.
Are you like in debt because of it?
Yes, majorly in debt.
Where's the money go?
Records makes money. It's not
money on tattoos?
I have a tattoo of him. I buy everything. I love his interviews, everything that he says, how people are against him, how he stands up for himself. It's great.
So you see nothing negative in his lyrics?
Nothing. Everything is positive about this man.
Okay.
Everything is positive.
Well, let me bring on the other side here. This is a woman who blames the death of her son on Marilyn Manson. Her name is Terry. Please welcome Terry. Hi, Terry.
Hi.
Your son committed suicide.
Yeah, about 3 years ago.
And you really believe that it's because of, he was a big fan of Marilyn Manson's?
Yeah, all he wanted for Christmas in 1996 was the Antichrist Superstar CD. That's all he wanted.
Yeah.
And that's what he got, and I had no idea what was in it. 2 months later, he was hanging himself in our room.
Are you aware of this website? Are you aware that there are
I'm not,
Manson websites out there?
I'm not aware of the website.
How do you feel about the fact that there are these very strong pro-Manson websites out there?
It's sick. The man is evil.
If you had an 8-year-old son or a daughter, would you want them listening to the music and on this website of yours?
I would.
Because you know you have children on there.
I'm sure I do.
And you don't have a problem with that?
No, I do not. I think kids must learn to have their own opinions. They must learn to base what they know on...
Well, unfortunately, but they're not adults, and kids, you know kids are influenced.
Yes, of course.
You know, and that's what, Terry, what you feel is that your son was influenced by some of the lyrics and some of this music.
Definitely.
That is not Manson's doing. Manson did not intend that.
You know, I read in Hit Parader, just, you know, my son went and got...
make everything up, man. You can't trust that magazine.
Oh, well, like we can really trust your website?
Hey, maybe. Thank you. Maybe we should all interpret the Constitution whichever way we want to. We'd have a great place to live, wouldn't we, if you can imagine. When we come back, he's an expert on hateful websites who will tell you how to find them before your kids do on the internet. Our next guest is Michael Keith, co-author of Waves of Rancor, Turning in the Radical Right. And you've been backstage listening. This is a new topic for us. We've never done this before. Do you know how much of these kind of sites are out there? Do you know how many? Or?
Yes, I do, Jenny. And can I say something right from the start
please.
here? I think these people have entirely too much time on their hands.
And let me just say, Jenny, if he's counting websites, he's got entirely too much time on his hands.
Well, actually, he's a professor at Boston College and an author.
Yes.
And it takes a lot of time to write it.
this.
But let's talk about, this is really about websites. And the reason we're here is we want parents to know that these sites are out there because they're not regulated. And we want to give them a chance to intervene and maybe stop their kids from getting on these sites.
Yeah, you know, what's really frightening about this is in 1995, there was, I think, one hate site on here. I think Don Black was the groundbreaker on these hate sites with Stormfront. Today, according to the Simon Wiesenthal Center, there's over 2,000 on there. Now think of this as analogous to going to the mall. And you're walking down the mall, and there are stores there that are run by neo-Nazis, by racial supremacists, by homophobic people, and you have your family with you walking down there.
Freely make up their own
website is just like that. These kids are on the keyboards, they're going into the websites, and they're encountering this.
What you don't agree with.
And there is no way to...
Not at all. We're totally First Amendment oriented. We believe in it 100%. These people do have a right to be on there. We're not against that.
1 second, Bridget wanted to say something. Bridget, excuse me.
I've never heard the kind of filth come out of anyone's mouth that I've heard come out of your mouth.
This is a good day for you, Bridget. This is a good day for you. You're finally hearing the truth.
I know
You're finally hearing the truth.
Hang on 1 second. Let me get an audience, please. 1 second.
How few people wonder why kids in the church and you talk this way?
The kids of America should be taught on choices. It's okay to teach them about their heritage and about the family views or whatever, but you should give them a choice and let them know, well, this is not, if you won't do this, then if you're going to be gay, then be gay, but these are the consequences of it. As far as
Wait a minute, you don't even, are we going to talk, you're not saying that you're going to give the kid a choice whether he's going to be gay or not?
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this here. My father taught me like this, if you're going to be what you are, but it's going to be on your choice. Their son killed himself on his choice. I'm a big Tupac fan, and he shoots the cops all the time in his record, but I'm not going to pull a gun and shoot no cop if he pull me over. That's what I'm saying.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, I think you had a comment. Go ahead.
Don, you pulled your son out of school because of the violence. It's because of you and all your websites that are making people, like the shootings in high schools. It's because of all your websites, and you guys shouldn't be pulling it's your fault. Your own fault.
We'll be right back. We've been talking to Michael Keith, author of Waves of Rancor. What I really want to ask you is, we have a lot of parents out there in the audience too. If you have a kid, 6, 7, 10 years old, 12, how can you keep them from sites like this?
Well, first of all, you know what your kids are doing. Know that 8-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 10-year-olds are getting access to the internet. and know that these things are out there. And they're designed to be seductive to your kids. They're designed to look like video games. They're designed to be gothic. You know, and these kids don't know it. Once they get in there to the children's chat room of the Stormfront, they're getting indoctrinated.
You can't really block?
Yes, you can.
How
Yes,
can
you
you block
can. You
them?
can get a hate filter. You can get hate filter programming from the Anti-Defamation League, ADL.org. You can go to the Simon Wiesenthal Center. There's anti-bias legislation going on there right now, which is going to curtail the activities of these demented creatures who have these websites.
Jenny, how are they going to...
I have a question for Matt and Don. If they want to create their own white or white society, why are so many companies like GMC moving to Mexico and Nike moving to Asia? What you have to realize is that we need you as much as you need us, and we're all equal around.
We believe in protectionism. We want to protect our own people.
Just one comment from Doug, and then we're going to take a break. Doug? Yeah, Doug, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Jenny.
Yeah.
I think it is so valid to acknowledge the fact that all of this information is being put on the web, which is a very secretive medium, because right now in America it is the time to be black, it is the time to be gay, and these people are losing the battle, and that's why they're taking to the web. So it's right now, it's the time to be vigilant, because we're winning. We're winning. We're winning.
We'll be back. We start off the show by telling you it's a free country, and because it is a free country, all of our guests have a right to have these websites and to speak their mind, just like we have a right to have our show. But because they have a right to be on the internet with these hate websites, you as parents really need to know, which is why we're here. You have the obligation, not just the right, but the obligation to know what your kids are watching and to monitor those their internet hours. Thank you all very much.
Se de sista dagarna med både Angelica och Per i huset. Den nervösa gårdagen nu 5:55 och de sista timmarna 7:30 ikväll i Big Brother.